Welcome back to Timeout with J and G. It's Jay over here. It's G over there.
Yo, what is going on, everyone?
And today we are back with another very, very special episode this Wednesday for you. We have a lot of things. Some breaking news happened. Some trades happened with a couple of star wide receivers. Unfortunately, we had a pretty big injury over the weekend with a star player. And then we also have a former, one of the best, probably the best quarterback of all time, is now approved to be an owner of a team. So we have a lot of things to talk about today. And then obviously we're talking about, you saw the title, we're talking about the rookie quarterbacks and how they played so far this season. And honestly, this is something we wanted to talk about earlier in the year, and we kept pushing it back like 2 or 3 weeks because of different stuff happening. And I'm glad we did, because what I would have said about a couple of these guys in week 2 versus now week 6 is much different.
Oh, absolutely.
So I am kind of glad we decided to wait and do it this way. So we got a lot to get into today, but how are you doing today, Levi?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I'm excited to be back here. And, we talked about it, and pretty soon we're going to be bringing back Saturday episodes.
Yep.
Probably not this week, but we're going to get onto it soon. We're going to have an episode probably next Wednesday. We're going to be giving our predictions for the NBA season, like the award winner predictions and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested in that, come back next Wednesday for that. Is there anything you want to hit on before we get up into the news for today?
Not really. I'm just excited. I got a couple of things here that for college football it's little
Mhm.
cool, interesting things, and then update on Aston Genty's. It's Genty, not Sheetney. Found that out. On his race for Barry Sanders' record.
All right. Well, like I said, there's a couple things we want to talk about, and let's get the bad news out of the way first. The Lions placed defensive end Aiden Hutchinson on IR, and if you saw the play, it was pretty nasty.
Yeah.
It was
Yes, it
very,
was.
very nasty. His own player ran into his leg, and I didn't see the exact report of what he broke, but he broke a lot of stuff in his leg. I wonder if I can pull up the exact injury, what they called it.
His leg basically just turned into spaghetti.
Yeah. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm not seeing exactly what the. I mean, yeah, he broke his leg pretty much, and I'm trying to see if they gave some more terms on it. But I'm not seeing that right off the back off the quick research. But yeah, he broke his leg. It was pretty nasty. He's gonna be out the rest of the year. Um, and it sucks, man. It sucks to see a star player like that get injured, especially something that gruesome. It's like the Paul George thing back from years ago. Just seeing a young star just kind of have something tragic like that and lose an entire season. Um, yeah, I mean, what do you have to say about it?
It's just he was kind of like the leader of that Lions defensive team, and he
Mm-hmm.
was feared for his pass rushing ability. So I wonder how the Lions are going to incorporate more blitzes, or if they're going to try and bring someone in, or if they trust their backups or whatever to step in and fill that void that Aiden Hutchinson left. Because it's not like you're losing a tone setter. You're losing a potential depoy candidate in the next couple years. Like you're not losing, some average guy. Like this is, like I said, your tone setter for defense. So it's gonna be a little interesting how the defensive coordinator and they scheme up for the defensive side of the ball to try and fill that void that Aiden Hutchinson left.
Yeah, I think we're all hoping and praying for a quick recovery for Aiden Hutchinson for next year. Hoping he comes back strong next year. And yeah, like you said, a guy that in a year or two's time could be in the running for a depoy. Like he's a very, very good player. One of the best young pass rushers in the game. Probably one of the best pass rushers already in the game. It's just always a bummer. Um, but that kind of leads into the next talking point, because now that the Lions have lost Aiden Hutchinson for the year, you made a comment about how they're going to start incorporating blitzes and stuff like that to kind of make up for the loss of Aiden Hutchinson. Well, there seems to be a team out in LA, no, I'm sorry, not LA, Las Vegas, that are on a bit of a fire sale right now, and the Raiders, obviously. And we'll talk about what next. They traded Davante Adams to the New York Jets. This was a out of nowhere. I got the alert on my phone today. This morning when it happened, I got the alert on my phone, and I got into text from you as well. You actually texted me before the alert popped up on my phone that Davante Adams was traded to the New York Jets. So this guy's faster than Woj, faster than Shams. This guy, he's on it, man.
I'm cracked.
But it said that's right. It said breaking news: the Raiders are finalizing deal to trade Davante Adams to the Jets for a conditional third rounder that can become a second round pick per Adam Schefter. And before we jump into that full trade, it kind of reminded me of like, if they're going to be on a fire sale, what's the chance Max Crosby ends up in Detroit?
I mean that would be interesting, but I don't think they're gonna go full fire sale because I think Davante has won it out since they got rid of Derek Carr. Because
Mm-hmm.
that's why he went to the Raiders to play with Derek Carr, his college quarterback. And it was kind of just like he's only had two quarterbacks that he's really played with, and that was Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr. So I mean, I don't think the Raiders are going to go full fire sale, but if they do get rid of Max Crosby, it's gonna be a hefty price to try and get him from the Raiders.
Oh, for sure. And I guess my reasoning is he's 27 years old, obviously still in his prime as a player, but it's just like they're not going to be good anytime soon.
Yeah,
And like the Raiders just they don't really have anything going. They got 2 years left on his contract. So at what point he'll be pretty much 30 by the time he hits restricted or not restricted, by the time he hits free agency. And then it's like, okay, do we pay this player who's one of the best pass rushers in the league, but like we're just not a good team. Like I just think within the next year or two, it might just make sense for them to move on from him. Like because it's like they don't really have a lot going on for him like at all. Like
yeah,
you look on their offense side of the ball, they don't have a lot going on. Defense side of the ball, they don't have a lot going on. It might just be worth their while to trade him while his market is super high. Because Max Crosby's market right now is as high as it's ever been, and
yeah,
it's like you might as well capitalize on that, get a lot of assets back, and then just kind of rebuild the team because you're already rebuilding the team. But now you just kind of got this really, really good, really high paid player on your defensive line, but it's not really accumulating to much. So I think it would just make sense for them to kind of move on from it. Like I understand you don't want to move on from a player like Max Crosby because he's such a good player, but it's like he's just kind of like he's making 24, 22, and then it goes down to $18 million. So he's on a good contract, but it's like, why am I paying that if we're just not going to be good for the next 3 to 4 years?
yeah, yeah. There's no point in paying it if the team's not going to be good. I guess just to hold on in case you strike lightning in a bottle, or one of your draft
Mhm.
picks ends up becoming like a really really good player. That could be one of the only things, but you know, I don't know. I think Crosby wants to stay with the Raiders, so as long as he wants to stay, I think they're going to keep him there.
Yeah, that's valid. That's yeah, I guess I don't know. But to go back, the Davante Adams trade, he's now back with Aaron Rodgers, and then subsequently, the Jets said that they are looking to trade Mike Williams because now they just have a full receiver room. Um, so I mean, what do you think? Like, what do you think of the Jets getting Davante Adams?
I mean, I kind of figured it would happen. I kind of figured it would be the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. I was kind of
Yeah,
hoping that I'd see the report today. Davante Adams traded to the Steelers, and
yeah.
then everything would be fine. Everything would be like great. But it's interesting. I mean, I feel like everyone, once he was wanting to be traded, everyone kind of figured it would be the Jets because of Aaron Rodgers. Let's be honest. But I
Hmm.
feel like this is a massive W for the Jets because now you have Garrett Wilson, one of the best young receivers in the league, and you have Davante Adams.
Hmm.
I mean, that is going to be a great one-two punch. I just it's just going to be about Aaron Rodgers delivering an accurate ball. That's what's going to
What
actually
about Alan? Don't forget Alan Lazard. He's a former Packer too.
Allen Lazard, man, and they might as well just bring the that Packers team back.
That's what they're trying to do.
Get
It seems like
David
what they're trying.
get David Bakhtiari, bring him back.
Isn't he retired?
Bring him out of retirement.
Bakhtiari, yeah. No, I don't know. I like the trade for the Jets because it was clear that this Jets offense has talent, but they just didn't really have a lot of chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. A lot of that you probably could put on Aaron Rodgers for the way in the offseason he kind of secluded himself in that room and not really like you know what I mean. Like we don't know Aaron Rodgers personally, obviously, but it seems like he's not been known over the career as the best teammate in the world. But it just seems like him and his receivers don't really have a lot of chemistry. Obviously, he has chemistry with Alan Lazard, but Alan Lazard's dropped a lot of passes this year. He just hasn't been great. And it's like Garrett, like you said, Garrett Wilson, one of the better young receivers in the league, but he didn't really have a lot of time with Aaron Rodgers because last year he was hurt, and then he didn't play in the preseason. So it's just like they don't really have a lot going on. Davante Adams has extreme chemistry with Aaron Rodgers. They were one of the best quarterback receiver duos in the league for a couple of years there in Green Bay. So honestly, Like I can only see them going up. They're 2-4. They're not by any means. They're not out of the playoff race. They definitely have a lot of room to like. They need to catch up now. They can't keep losing these games. And they in the post game report, post game interview last night after the Jets lost, Aaron Rodgers said that on his game losing interception, he said that Mike Williams ran the wrong route. And then next thing you know, Davante Adams is a Jet and Mike Williams is on the trade market. So I don't know. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's just kind of seems like stuff happens around Aaron Rodgers, but he's always going to deny his responsibility in it. But it just
yeah,
seems like kind of stuff happens around Aaron Rodgers.
yeah. I mean,
Um,
head coach gets fired. Next thing you know, Mike Williams is on the trade block. Now they have Davante Adams. I mean, stuff's aligned, and you can't keep denying it forever. I mean, he can, but it's starting to
yeah,
get a
he's going to
little too
deny.
fishy.
You know, um, and then like I said, for the Raiders, it's just like they're not going to go anywhere anytime soon. You made the comment that it seems like Davante Adams has wanted to leave since Derek Carr left. And they're not. He doesn't have a quarterback. They didn't have a quarterback in Las Vegas. He was very frustrated, very open about it. You get a conditional, like it can be third, can go to a second. So I think it's pretty good value, honestly. Like Davante Adams is, I think he's definitely taken a step back from like being the top receiver in the league that he was in Green Bay the last couple of years, but he's still I think can be a top 5 receiver in this league. You know what I mean? I think like you get him back with a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. Hopefully, like we're assuming Aaron Rodgers can be better with Davante Adams.
Yeah.
That I still think Davante Adams can be one of the top 5 receivers in this league. So I mean, I think it's pretty decent value. I think they were right to move on from him because it's like you said, if you don't want to be there, it's gonna be kind of tough to want him to stay. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the trade all around.
Yeah, and I do believe the condition for that is if Devonte Adams make an AP first or second team, I think, or
Okay,
if the Jets make the conference championship or the Super Bowl, then it gets turned into a second round pick.
I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I can't
As in,
exactly say
it's one
it
of the
won't.
two. If Devonte Adams makes an AP first or second team, I think, or the Jets make the conference championship or the Super Bowl, then it turns into a
Okay.
second. So one of the two has to happen, or all three, or both of them could happen. He could be first team and they make the Super Bowl. But no, where do you think some good trade destinations would be for Mike Williams?
So this is going to sound funny, but Dallas I think both of our teams could benefit for having them.
Oh yeah,
I think the Cowboys and the both could benefit just because we're both in need of receivers. Obviously, the Chiefs are going to be in play. They still need receiver help because Rasheed Rice is probably done for the year. Um, let's see, you got the Bengals. Maybe I don't know if the Bengals could bring him in, but that would be a decent spot for him to go. The Ravens are always going to be in the market for a receiver like that. Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think of other teams. He's not going to go back to the Chargers
no,
because that was the team I was thinking about. But I don't think he goes back to the Chargers. Um,
yeah,
what else
yeah.
do you got?
I mean, honestly, don't really have anything else. You kind of just hit all the points. Dallas, Steelers, Chiefs. There's another one you said that you just said I can't remember, but like Ravens. And pretty much like those four teams are in the market for a wide receiver, and it's kind of just like who makes the best
He's
offer, who the Jets take.
yeah, he's going to want to go to a good team too. Like they're not. He's not going to just like. Well, obviously the Jets are the ones trading him, but like I don't think there's. I think they're going to send him to a good team. They're not going to send him to the Browns or some shit like that. Um, which is my segue, which is my segue
Dude, do you have a
to the
segue
other
over
trade.
there?
Yeah, what can I say? We were segueing over here. There was a second receiver that got traded today,
Yep.
and this is Amari Cooper. Yeah, where is my? Oh yeah, the okay. Let's see. The Bills traded a 2025 third round pick and a 2026 seventh round pick to the Browns for Amari Cooper and a 2025 sixth round pick.
I mean,
What are we thinking?
I'm vibing with the trade. You're pretty much just swapping sevenths. I think yeah, it was seven for seven, and
A
then
six and a seven.
okay, so you're pretty much just swapping a six and a seven, and then Cooper for a third. I mean, I'm not mad at that trade. I think for what the Browns are in right now, I feel like they had to get rid of Amari Cooper, because let's be honest, Browns defense really good. Offense is worse than the Steelers. It's
Yeah.
probably one of the worst in the league.
Mhm.
And well, obviously that's without Nick Chubb, but I feel like the Browns got some decent value back for Amari Cooper because his value wasn't the highest because they haven't been playing so good. So I mean,
He's also I saw he's been rated the worst receiver in the NFL this year. He's had a lot of drop passes. He's not been good this year either.
yeah. So I mean, like the value is there. I'm really intrigued to see him and Josh Allen together.
Mhm.
Also, the Bills did drop MVS, so Jets picking up MVS. Are we here for it?
Keeping it going, keeping the Packers game going.
Keep it going. But no, I feel like it was a good trade for both sides. Browns got rid of a receiver that kind of wants to win now and be in a good position to, you know, make more of an impact on a team. And the Bills need wide receiver help. I'm gonna be honest, they
Mhm.
needed it after Stephon Diggs got traded. Gabe Davis, I think, left in free agency, or they traded him away to the Jags, I believe. So, wide receiver was a hole for this team, and bringing in a guy like Amari Cooper, I feel like you filled that void even more. And Josh Allen, he's having one hell of a season.
Yeah, yeah. Josh Allen is having an MVP type season to start this year, and like I said, Amari Cooper has not been great this year. He's had a lot of bad drop passes, honestly. Um, but again, I think part of that was a situation where he just did not want to be in Cleveland anymore. I think he was done. I don't think he was really trying that much, which is an excuse. You shouldn't be doing that, but I think that's just what was happening. And I mean, Josh Allen is going to be the best quarterback he's ever had. You saw he was on the Raiders when he started his career with Derek Carr. Was good. He had his moments there. Went to Dallas with Dak and had a really really good couple of years. I think gets traded to the Browns, and it just kind of hasn't worked out there. And honestly, yeah, I like the trade for the Bills. They did need receiver help, like you said. Amari Cooper, I don't think at this point in time is going to be a bona fide number one. I think he's going to be a top option on their offense, obviously, but like they have some other guys there too. But I think he's going to fit in really nicely. The only thing I'm kind of curious about is, like you said, fitting in with Josh Allen. Amari Cooper's not going to get down the field like some of their other younger receivers are, like for those deep passes for Josh Allen. But I think he's a very like good. I think he could be a very good, consistent chain mover for him. You know what I mean? Like he's dropped a lot of passes this year, but again, I don't really think that's who he is. I think he could be a consistent pair of hands. Like just like, hey, get 10 to 15 yards down the field and get a catch.
I was gonna say he could be that kind of like that safety valve, 5 to 15 yards down the field, just throw it to him, get the first down, maybe a couple more yards after contact or something like that. I feel like that's another weapon that Josh Allen kind of wanted. You know what I mean? Because of how everything went on this offseason.
Yeah, yeah. Anything else about that trade? How do you? Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anything else about that trade?
Yeah, not really. I feel like it benefited both teams. They kind of got what each needed, especially for the value that Amari Cooper had, getting a third and a sixth. I think that's pretty good value.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty annoyed about that, honestly, because when Dallas traded him, he was coming off one of his best years, and we got a fifth round pick for him. But then, but then the Browns get a third and a seventh from coming off one of his worst starts of the season. Like, whatever. I have
The Bills just
a
needed a
lot
wide
going on in
receiver that
Dallas.
bad.
There's a lot going on in Dallas, but we talked about them a little bit last episode, so I'm just gonna stay away from it. And we have some other things to talk about, some other teams to talk about. I got to give some love to
Yep.
some other teams instead of getting on here and trashing the Cowboys every chance. um, so I guess
Jerry's
the last little bit of
World.
yeah, right, man. I guess the last little bit of news before we get into the college football is that the NFL owners have approved Tom Brady's amount as amount my yeah, what I was trying to say there. The NFL owners have approved Tom Brady as a minority owner of the Raiders, which
So
means there's no chance he's coming back. He now cannot play football. He's done for good. He's officially fully retired. But
yeah,
what were we going to say?
I'll say yeah. So that means he's done. He's officially
Yeah.
retired. All you Miami fans thinking he was gonna come back and join the team and take him to the Super Bowl, you're dreaming, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
it was. That
You
was.
Yeah, no, wasn't gonna happen. But no, shout out to Tom Brady, one of the best careers in NFL history, and he's continuing it into the commentating booth. How you feel about him is your opinion, but I don't know.
Mhm.
Now he's getting
I
into
honestly,
the.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say. Honestly, I think as weeks goes on, I think he's getting better as a commentator. I think the first game or two was a little rough, but it was his first ever games calling, and I think the past couple weeks he's getting better.
Yeah, I mean, like you go from playing, being the starting quarterback, being a vocal leader, and you're not really paying attention to the camera too much. Now it's pretty much the camera's like right in your face, and now
Yeah,
it's kind of just
yeah.
like, hey, talk. It's kind of these little adjustment, as we know from when we first started doing the face cams.
Yeah, no, it is
So,
like obviously not to the same level as Brady going
oh
from an
yeah,
NFL player to a
oh yeah.
broadcaster, but no, yeah, going from just talking into a microphone, looking at like looking at a screen, talking to a microphone versus looking at each other, talking and knowing that people are going to see us as we talk. It's definitely a bit of a change, and you could probably tell our first couple episodes, like through video, where we were a little off. It wasn't as smooth as it was before, but I think we're doing better now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I don't really have much about that Tom Brady thing. Just wanted to, hey, he's not coming back. He's gonna be part owner of the Raiders now. Shout out to him. I think that means he can't call Raiders games. If I'm correct on that, because he's part owner of the team.
That sounds about right.
So I mean, I don't think he's too upset about not being able to call a Raiders game. Honestly, so,
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean, hey,
wouldn't be
hey,
either.
new minority owner. What if he pushes to get Max Crosby out of there, man? He's like, hey, we just got to restart this team. We got to restart. We got to find us a white wide receiver, and we'll be good to go. That Brady's special. Hey, Hunter Renfro's still out there. Bring him back. He'll
Dude,
figure it
that's
out.
that's the other thing that I've seen. Like Hunter Renfro, one of the best route runners. Like he does that little zig move, or he just
Mhm.
route running in general, and he's still in the free agent market. Steelers, go pick him up.
I just think yeah. I don't know. I think he's a cool receiver. I just think I don't know. I don't know what kind of level he adds to your team. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he's that much of a boomer bust player. I think he'd
Dude,
be a fine addition to the team, but
we just need wide receivers, dog. No
that's very
disrespect to
fair.
Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, Roman Wilson, who we haven't gotten to see really play yet, but need some wide receiver help. We need a bona fide number two, or go get us a bona fide number one and let him and Pickens duke it out for number one. Not actually duke
I
it out, but
Yeah, I said the Tom Brady thing was the last part of news, but I actually completely forgot until we just brought up the Steelers again. The Steelers, man, have some stuff going on. It says breaking this is from ML Football on Twitter. Who I don't see his source on here, but apparently a couple people have said it. I think even Adam Schefter said the same thing. Breaking: the Steelers are benching Justin Fields. Benching again, quotes. We're not sure yet. Russell Wilson will get first team reps in practice, and he will likely start this week.
what are we
So
doing?
I'll give you the floor for this one.
What are we doing? We finally have a quarterback outside of Ben Roethlisberger that is moving the football. He's doing good, productive stuff. He's playing winning football pretty much. He's got us to a 4-2 record. Now, obviously, we could be 5-1. We could be 6-0. But that's why you play the game. You're not going to win them all. 4-2 record. He has. I think he's maybe one pick this season.
I think two.
I thought
I think
one.
he's 10 touchdowns, 2 picks, if I remember correctly.
Either way, but
I'll pull it up.
one or two picks. I mean, he's got less interceptions thrown than Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, not trying to compare the two, but like he's playing really good football, and he adds a dynamic that Russell Wilson doesn't really have anymore, and that's the ability to scramble. Russell Wilson's getting
Yeah.
older. He can't move as well as he used to. And let's be honest, this Justin Fields is probably the most confident player and probably the best version of Justin Fields we've seen since he's entered the league. And now you're just going
Real
to rip
quick.
it away from him potentially?
Yeah, I just
Go
want
ahead.
to interject. He has 5 passing touchdowns, 5 rushing touchdowns, so 10 total touchdowns. He has 2 interceptions. He has 6 fumbles, but I don't know how many of those are lost.
I
I'm
think
trying to see if I can see
I
the
only
fumbles
think like
lost.
one or two are lost because
Okay.
a couple of them were just bad snaps or bad exchange from the center to the quarterback, which they dealt with a lot in week one. But it's I'm rocking with Justin Fields as the QB1. I feel like he's kind of proven it. He helped us beat the Raiders. We scored 30 points for the first time. I don't know how long. That was
Yeah.
exciting to see. But no, if Russell Wilson does start, he has got to show that he is better than Justin Fields. He's
Mhm.
got to come out. He's got to win the game against it because I think we're playing the Jets in prime time. If he
Yeah,
if he doesn't beat the Jets, why did we go away from Justin Fields?
Jets with a new star wide receiver too.
All I'm saying.
Here's my question for you. Let's. I know it's kind of hard to do because of how we've seen this start of the season play out, but let's. Let me ask you this: Who do you think is a better quarterback, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields?
Better
Like
quarterback,
just a pure. Who do you think is a like not based on how this season's going, but like who do you think is the better quarterback?
Justin Fields, and it could be recency biased.
That's what I'm saying. Try your best to like take out this season so far. Like coming into this season, who would you have said is the better quarterback?
Russell Wilson.
Right now, are we letting I'm not advocating for this benching at all. I think you got to ride with Justin Fields. My question is it like I'm trying to think? Is there a chance Russell Wilson comes in and it's just a better quarterback than Justin Fields has been for you guys?
There is that possibility, and I feel like this whole
Mm-hmm.
thing would have been a lot different if he would have been healthy, because then he presumably would have been QB1 from week one, and we
Yeah.
would have been rocking like that. But since we've seen what Justin Fields can do, in this offense, which a lot of people have say it's staggered at times, but still, like what
Mm-hmm.
he can do in this offense, I don't think you can turn away from him because you build up his confidence so much that you put trust into him, and now it's kind of just like you're just ripping it away. I kind of
Yeah.
fear what it's going to do to Justin Fields' confidence if you kind of just take it away, no rhyme or reason. He's 4-2, and the other thing is, I love Mike Tomlin. I advocate to keep Mike Tomlin all the time, but you preach winning. We're finally winning, and now I'm not. If Russell Wilson doesn't win, I'm. You're kind of just ripping it away from us.
Yeah. That was the other point I was going to bring up. Like you guys are in a weird situation now with this because you guys are 4-2. You know what I mean? Like if you guys were 1-5, I don't think this quarterback change would really matter that much.
No.
But you guys are like genuinely have been a good team. Like you guys started off 3-0 and then have the past couple weeks have been kind of faltered, but you're still 4-2. Like that's still a good record. You guys are still having a chance to push into the AFC playoff picture, like probably the wild card in that division. But like you can't really afford to screw this up because like you put in Russell Wilson for 2 games and he loses both those games. You're not sitting at 4-4 and it's like okay, well then do we just put him back on the bench and bring back Justin Fields and hoping that Justin Fields is still playing hot? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could by chance put in Russell Wilson for a couple of games, he sucks, and then by the time you put Justin Fields back in, he's cold again and he's not going to be good now. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
it's just you're risking so much doing this, and I don't understand. Like I said, being 4-2, I don't understand the change.
The only thing I can say is if Mike Tomlin has so much trust in Russell Wilson and that they're going to change the playbook and they're going to be more passing plays because let's be honest, Russell Wilson is the better passer.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's the only
It's
thing
not
I
by
can
much
think
anymore,
of.
but
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's the only thing I can think of that he technically, like quote unquote, I don't want to put this out there, but trusts Russell Wilson to make more throws than Justin Fields. But at this point, seeing what Fields has been doing, how I just don't understand it. I really don't. I feel like if anything, you move Wilson into that QB2 spot and then move Kyle Allen to the emergency quarterback. And then if you don't like what you're seeing from Fields, then you put in Russell Wilson and kind of talk to him, and be like, hey, you're doing this, this, and this. You know what I mean? Kind of like having like a sit down moment, and then maybe that'll light something, a fire under his butt, and then Fields will come out playing even better. But this is just a weird move at 4-2.
yeah. And I thought for a second I was like maybe because you guys did start off 3-0, and then you lose back to back games, but then you win last week, right? Like yeah. So like I was like okay maybe Mike Tomlin saw those 2 losses and he was like okay we're starting to panic a little bit. Then you guys come back and put up 30. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? And you know like it's just I don't think there's any reason like I don't think there's any reason they could give that's like oh okay yeah I think it's gonna be weird no matter what and I'm kind of worried that it's gonna screw up some team chemistry too because now Russell Wilson's been hurt so like he's getting some practice in now but like I don't he definitely hasn't had the reps with him like Justin Fields had with the first team all year so it's like it's just I don't know. It's just a weird change to this offense at this point in the season.
Yeah, and George Pickens even came out and said we're rocking with Fields. We trust Fields. We're behind Fields. So at that point, it's kind of just like, like you said, how much is the chemistry going to be messed up by making this move?
Yeah, yeah. Anything else you want to talk about with that move?
No, not really. I'm just a little perplexed.
I get you. So then let's go ahead and jump into the college football.
All right, I'm gonna try and keep this a little quick and clean. So first game we have on the slate, we have number 5 Georgia at number 1 Texas. Texas looks unbeatable right now.
Oh, hook 'em.
Hook 'em horns. But no, Texas is looking really, really good this year, whether it's with Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning. Both of the quarterbacks are looking
Mhm.
really, really good. Georgia, with Carson Beck, their offense stifles a little bit. They still have a good defense, but their offense stifles, as we've seen against
Yeah.
Bama and we've seen against Clemson earlier in the year. I still think that Texas is number 1 for a reason, and I feel like they've been the best team by far in college football. Oregon
Hmm.
is second. I think it's close, but I think Texas wins this game against Georgia, and I believe this is where College Game Day is going to be.
Okay. Yeah,
100% sure
then
on
that would
that.
make sense.
Yeah. Next game, we're going to the Big Ten. We have ranked 24 Michigan at number 22 Illinois. Illinois has been playing really good. I don't think a lot of people really seen this happening. Illinois coming in like this. Michigan did have some troubles earlier in the year. They did get kind of beat around by Texas. Michigan's starting to play a little bit better. I think they had one game to where they just ran the football the entire game pretty much and kind of coasted to a win, which is pretty cool to watch. But I think Illinois is kind of gonna. I think Illinois and Indiana are kind of gonna be them, like them like middle tier team, middle upper teams. That if they play good enough against
Yeah.
like Ohio State and Oregon or Penn State, they have a shot to win. So keep an eye on that. I do have Illinois winning. And then in the
Hmm.
final game, only doing 3, we have number 7 Alabama at number 11 Tennessee. Tennessee has struggled on the offensive side, but their defense, one of the best in the country. Their D line, arguably the best in the country. I have Tennessee to win. It's supposed to be crazy. It's supposed to be, I believe, an orange out. Shout out the Vols.
That's right. Yeah. Shout out the Vols, man. And also shout out the new number 3 team in the country, Penn State.
Shout out to Penn State.
They're 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 making it happen, man. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but they're making it happen right now. So
Yeah, they're making it happen. On to rankings. Also, Boise State climbs up to number 15. So shout out to Boise State.
hmm
And also, Army and Navy are both ranked for the first time since I believe 1968 or 1965.
that's ridiculous.
It's been a
That's
long time,
crazy.
but they're both undefeated. They're both going to be in there fighting, so shout out to them. And the last thing in college football I want to talk about, Ashton Genty. Right now, with the projections for a full season, so I'm presuming all 12 regular season games, the conference championship, and then a bowl game, at least that amount, he's on pace to have 294 carries, 2,912 yards, and 38 rushing touchdowns.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I looked up some not that I'm not a sports gambler, but because I was curious on the idea, I looked up the like over and unders for Aston Genty's golly rushing yards, and it was like over under 184 and a half. It's like okay, that's like that's absolutely ridiculous. That's the over under.
But the funny part about that is on I've seen some posts about it. You basically just hammer the over and just hope he plays the second half.
Yeah, he don't even have to play the second half, and he's still going to hit the over. But it
Yeah,
is
but
what it
no,
is.
to put into reference, Barry Sanders' record-setting season in 1988, 344 carries. So
Mm.
Genty is projected 50 carries less. Barry Sanders had 2,628 rushing yards and 37 touchdowns. So Genty is
Hell
almost
yeah.
50 carries less, 300 yards more, and 1 touchdown more. And also,
That's our guy, man. Your Dallas Cowboys running back.
hey, all I gotta say is I was gonna say this to you. With the injuries that have happened to the Cowboys and everything, maybe you tank a little bit. Maybe get a mid round draft pick, maybe trade up a little bit, and you take Ashton Genty.
I'm afraid you don't understand who our owner is.
I
That's
mean, your owner did say
the
you're going
idea.
all in, and he did absolutely nothing during the offseason but let a lot of people walk.
Yeah. So what made you think he's gonna be like, oh yeah, let's tank? We might just suck anyway, so I don't think it really matters.
I
We
mean,
might just, with all the injuries in this team, we might just suck.
you guys went 8-8 and ended up getting Micah Parsons.
That is very true. That is very true.
Maybe it's something similar. I mean, I would love to see Genty in Dallas.
Me too, man. We just need an offensive line again. The Great Wall of Dallas we had in the 2010s is old and gone now. It's kind of a
Yeah.
rough watch. Tyron Smith, his first year in the Jets has been bad. Zach Martin, one of the best guards in this league for a long time, is he had a PFF pass blocking grade of 0, literally 0,
All
in
right.
our last game against the Lions. He
I
was disgustingly awful.
I didn't know that was
Um,
possible.
it's just yeah, our offensive like Tyler Smith's a great young player. Tyler Guyton's a rookie. He's having some rookie pains, but he's having some good moments. Like Cooper Beebe, like we have a lot of young guys in that offensive line, and then a couple guys that are really old, and then Terrence Steele sucks. So, like our offensive line just isn't. I don't know, but then again, Genty's line in Boise State sucks, and he's making it happen anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter
Yeah, I mean, if you watch him at all, he just stands there like Michael Myers in the backfield. He just stands there. He doesn't crouch down or anything. He
if it
kind of
works
just
for him.
he kind of just stands there and is like he's kind of literally he's just chilling there. And then finally it's time to go.
He's doing that thing. He's like in his head. He's like envisioning the route. He's like, okay, I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to cut that way, then go that way, and then he gets the ball, and he does exactly that. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. It doesn't matter what the defense does. He's going to do exactly in his head what he's going to do.
and it plans out. I mean, it's just crazy to watch, and I'm here for it. Boise State number 15. They might be able to get into the college football playoff without being the last conference champion at the pace they're going.
Hold on a second. Breaking news from Shams. A Schomburg alert, if you were to say. The Memphis Grizzlies are signing two-way guard Scottie Pippen Jr. Anyway, we just have a breaking news Schomburg alert on the podcast, and we're ready to move on now.
Alrighty,
Is that going to do it for you? Good.
one last thing I do got to bring up because I feel like it would be criminal if I didn't. Shout out to the University of Vanderbilt beating Bama and then turning around and beating Kentucky. It's
Yeah.
unprecedented what they've been doing over there. And shout out to Vandy. I feel like they should be ranked by now. I feel like they should be ranked over Michigan. To be completely honest.
Mm-hmm.
In a different scenario,
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at a Vandy team 6-0 and is probably top 15. Just a couple play difference, but shout out to Vandy. They're actually good. They're actually good this year.
They just had to get a new field goal post in there.
Yeah, they're gonna need new. They're gonna need new field goals.
All right, is that going to do it for our college football talk for this week?
That's gonna do it for the college football talk this week.
All right, then before we get into the main part of today's episode, you're going to hear word from our partner. I am proud to announce we are partnered with Dubby Energy Drink.
Dubby was formulated to give you focus and energy with no jitters or crash, all while tasting amazing.
If you go to the link in the description, it will take you to our sponsored flavor, Push and Punch.
Use code TIMEOUTJG, that is TIMEOUTJG, at checkout for 10% off your order.
Thank you to Dubby Energy for partnering with us, and back to the episode. Okay, now that we've heard a word from our partner, we are here talking about the rookie quarterbacks of this year. And pretty much only going to talk about 4 of them because Michael Penix Jr. hasn't really done anything. So there's not really much to talk about. And I don't think either one of us want to talk bad about the guy who hasn't played. So I think we're just going to kind of let him do his thing right now and move on from him. There's the 4 guys we want to talk about today are Bo Nix, Drake May, who just had his NFL debut, Jaden Daniels, and then, of course, Caleb Williams, number 1 overall pick. And which way do you want to start? You want to start with Bo Nix and kind of work our way up?
I was gonna say let's start with Drake May, Bo Nix, and then Daniels, and then Williams.
Okay, then yeah, we'll start with Drake May. He had his NFL debut last week against the Houston Texans. A crazy decision to put him against that Texans defense for his first career game. I guess Jerome Mayo was like, "Fuck it, we're sending you in there, buddy." Um,
You're gonna
but
have to play at some point.
yeah, he had 243 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, and the 2 picks might sound kind of crazy, but honestly, I thought it was a pretty damn good debut for him. He definitely made some really good reads. He looked pretty confident out there. I didn't get to watch the entire game, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I saw everything that happened. But I thought he looked pretty damn good. Again, the 2 picks, but they're a bad team, so I think if he goes out there and turns the ball over a lot this year, I don't think it's going to really matter that much to the in the retrospect. Let him make the mistakes now.
Yeah, and I believe it was I think it was either the 35-yard pass to Demario Douglas or the 40-yard pass to Keishon Butte. One of them was an
Mhm.
absolute dot for the touchdown.
Yeah,
If you can go
yeah.
back and watch it, if you're watching the podcast right now, go watch that clip. It was pinpoint perfect. If it would have been a little bit to the left, probably incomplete. To the right, probably picked off. Like he threaded the needle on that pass perfectly. It's a shout out to him.
And
Also,
also,
oh, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say shout out to Mario Douglas because that was his first career touchdown catch as well. So shout out to Mario Douglas.
Yeah, I was gonna say shout out to Mario Douglas. He had 6 catches, 92 yards, and a touchdown, 9 targets. But Drake May, I feel like he looked better than what a lot of people thought he would.
He was definitely one of those prospects coming into this year where, like, I think nobody really knew what his ceiling was. Like, I think he had a lot of potential, but I don't think a lot of people understood really what his ceiling was. And I think him going to the Patriots is definitely interesting. Like, this isn't the 2010s, 2010 Patriots anymore, where it's like a set in stone system. You know what I mean? This is definitely a more free flowing team than we're used to under new head coach Rod Mayo. But I don't like. I think it took. Well, I guess real quick before we get too deep, he did he did have a couple pass attempts against the Jets back on September 22nd, or September 19th. I'm sorry, but this was his first career start. I just wanted to
Yeah,
force him. I was like, oh, actually, he played in this game. Like you know what I mean. I just wanted to just put that out there. Listen, they drafted him knowing or hoping that he would be their franchise quarterback. They were pretty bullish on pulling Jacoby Brissett for some reason to start the year. I don't really know why. I feel like they honestly could have pulled him a week or two prior to what they did, but for some reason they decided not to. Um, I think Drake May is going to be a good quarterback. Obviously it's just one game. He played against a very good Texans defense and had some really really big plays during it. Um, I think he's again, it's only been one game. I think he's going to be a guy that I think rookie year is going to throw quite a bit of interceptions because he does take chances on a lot of big plays.
yeah,
But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know what I mean? You're gonna be a bad team. You might as well let your rookie quarterback go out there, take the chains off, and just see what he can do.
yeah. That's one of the things that I love seeing is just letting a quarterback just let loose and just sling the thing around the yard. And I feel like Drake May is one of them quarterbacks in this class that he I shouldn't say he doesn't care, but he'll sling it. He'll throw it if he thinks
Mm-hmm.
you're open. He'll throw it to you. In my opinion, he kind of reminds me of Philip Rivers. Philip Rivers
Oh
was
boy,
known for throwing that ball
some
down
people
the
are gonna love
field.
that. Some people are gonna hate that.
What?
Some people are gonna love that comparison. Some people are gonna hate that comparison. Philip Rivers has a very polarizing opinion. People have very polarizing opinions about Philip Rivers.
Yeah, but I mean, like Philip Rivers, he always loved throwing the ball deep. He took chances, but that also resulted in
Yep.
interceptions being thrown. So take that as you will. But you know, I like Drake May. I'm not saying I doubt he's going to be in race for Rookie of the Year. I feel like that's going to be between two more guys that we're going to be talking about in a little bit. But Drake May, he's going to have a solid rookie season, and
Campaign
hopefully
like rookie year.
campaign. Yeah, but hopefully he progresses and becomes the next great quarterback for the Patriots. Oh, that was disgusting to say.
Yeah, right. I feel like we got up an eternity of Patriots football. Now they're trying to find something again.
Yeah.
Um, Next, we'll talk about Bo Nix, the 35-year-old quarterback. Um, no, 24-year-old Bo Nix. A little bit over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, and I, he's had moments where he's looked decent. He's had moments where he's looked really bad.
Yeah.
And again, he's a rookie quarterback, so you have to take it with a grain of salt. Like they're going to go through their learning pains, they're going to go through their struggles. But usually, taking a guy that's 24 years old, you're hoping he's a little bit more NFL ready and polished than what you're seeing from Bo Nix right now. And this Broncos team has some talent, but like I just he doesn't really capitalize on the talent they have. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah, it's a little interesting, especially with how old he is, being an older quarterback. But I mean, on the season, like you said, he has a little over 1,000, 5 touchdowns. He also has 37 carries for 180 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. So he is using his legs a little bit, but I don't know, especially in this Sean Payton offense. It's gonna be a little interesting against the Chargers. He did go for 216, 2 touchdowns and 1 pick. It's kind of like it's always with the rookies. The rookies usually throw the most interceptions. Usually don't take care of the ball too well. Because of elevating from college play to the NFL. You're not playing against maybe one or two good players on the other team in the secondary. They're faster, they're stronger. But Bo Nix, he's gonna have a good rookie year. Denver, I don't think is gonna be in playoff contention, but I feel like 8-9, 9-8 season for the Broncos. I feel like that should be considered a win, especially going into with next season soon coming.
I Here's my question. I I don't even know if he's like okay. I'll say it this way: the past 3 weeks, he's looked better than he did the first couple weeks of the season. The first couple weeks of the season, he looked pretty damn bad. Um, but I can also say that about another quarterback we'll just list that we're going to talk about later. That kind of is having a similar arc, but just to a higher extent. Um, I'm just not bought in on this guy being a franchise quarterback. Like the way he's playing right now as a 24-year-old rookie, I don't. I don't know. This is the same conversation you have with older players all across sports. Players that come into leagues like the 23-year-old, like the 23-year-old rookies in basketball. You're like, well, man, what is their ceiling? Because they're already older.
Yeah,
The MLB is a little bit different because they have their whole farm system, the minor leagues, and they can play their way up through. But it's like, like I suppose mostly football and basketball. It's like these guys that are like 23, 24. A lot of those professions, you're considered a veteran at that point in time,
yeah.
especially basketball. But like these guys in the NFL are getting drafted 20, 21. If you're getting drafted at 24, what ceiling do you have? And it's not like he's coming out if he was coming out of college as a really good quarterback, like what happened with Joe Burrow, who kind of exploded onto the scene later in his college career and then came into the NFL more pro ready but older. And then it was like, okay, well, but right away he's been a pretty good quarterback. With Bo Nix, we don't have that. He's not that same level of talent that Joe Burrow was. So it's like, you have a like technically like 2 to 3 years before physically people are in their prime, like 26 to 29 is when people are like, or like in your early 30s when people are in their prime. How much can he grow before he hits that prime? And this is just the best version we're going to get of Bo Nix.
I think he's gonna grow, especially with Sean Payton being his head
Mm-hmm.
coach. He is gonna grow.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's to the amount that he's gonna be, like MVP style candidate. But I feel like
Oh yeah,
at his peak, I feel like he's gonna be a good, top 15, you know, fringe top 15, like 16, 17 quarterback in the league.
do you think so?
Yeah, I think he's gonna
Okay.
get to that point. It might take another, 2 years or so, but I feel like he will get to that point. That's gonna be like his plateau. When he hits that, he's gonna ride it for like 6, 7, 8 years, and it's gonna be down.
You know what? Hey, if you're listening to this right now, clip this because I think we're on opposite sides. I don't think he's going to pan out. So we can come back in 2 to 3 years and see which one of us was right, and which one of us was completely wrong about this take. I just don't see it, man. Like I could see Bo Nix being a career back, like not I want to say career backup, but like a fringe starter guy where it's like he goes to a new team, he might start, he might be the backup. He like kind of what Jameis Winston has turned into. You know what I mean? Like that kind of caliber of like, well, he if the starting quarterback's playing bad, he could start, but like you're never going to really trade for him or sign him to be your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Again, I think you have to give him some years in Denver. I'm not saying that's where he's at right now, but I just like I don't see a world where this guy's like a franchise quarterback. I should say.
Like you said, we're on different options of this, and I respect your opinion just as much as you respect mine. But I do think that
Hmm.
it's gonna take another couple years. But with how Sean Payton was, and obviously Drew Brees is on another level than Bo Nix, but I
Yeah,
feel like with how he handled Drew Brees, I feel like he can coach Bo Nix into that top 15
I can, yeah.
ish. You know. quarterback. I'm not saying top 10 or top 5, but like that 15,
Right.
like 20 to 15, just good enough that he can win you some games if need be. Type quarterback, a game manager, if you want to know. People hate that term.
Yeah. No, I can give you that point of the Sean Payton thing. Again, like I said, Drew Brees is a Hall of Fame quarterback, so it's
Yeah.
kind of hard to wonder if that can translate to another quarterback that the Sean Payton coaches. But it's a valid argument, and I don't. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that I hope he sucks and I hope he doesn't have a good career. I'm just like I don't think it's going to happen really. Um, Anything else you want to talk about? These first two guys, we don't have too much to talk about because they haven't been as good as the other two guys. But is
Yeah,
there anything else you want to talk about with Bo Nix?
yeah, no. Hopefully him and the Broncos pan out.
Yeah, I agree. Next, we're going to go into a guy that, for the first couple weeks of the year, looked like he was an absolute steal for the Commanders at the second overall pick. But you know what? Maybe I don't know. Maybe both those teams made the right decision. We're
Maybe.
seeing as of late. Jaden Daniels, man, has been really, really good for the Washington Commanders. He's at a season where he's at 1,400 passing yards, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and I know he has. I had his stats pull up here for a second, and I completely lost him. Rushing the ball, it doesn't have cumulative, but he's
Um,
got 4 rushing touchdowns, and it looks probably like close to 200 rushing yards. I'd say
he's got
maybe.
63 carries for 322 yards and 2 fumbles, 0 lost.
Yeah, he's been really, really good, and he has this Commanders team that I think nobody expected to be this good. It
No.
has them playing really, really well. They just lost to the to the Ravens this past Sunday, but again, Ravens are a super good team. But other than that, they are what? They're what on the season? They are 4-2 in a year. They're
Yep.
4-2 in a year. Which again, I think if you read back into our predictions for the season, I think I might have had them as the second worst team in the NFC East with the Giants, and they just came out early and just have played great. And it's behind Jaden Daniels. He's been throwing the ball all over the yard. He's been running the ball. He's just been doing honestly. He's been playing winning football, and that was something I think a lot of people were like. Jaden Daniels was another guy that was very boomer bust potential. And I think we even talked about that on this podcast. That like there's a chance Jaden Daniel can be a top player a top quarterback in this league, or there's a chance he just doesn't really translate. And again, it's only been 6 games in his career, but right now it's looking really, really good. And as a Cowboys fan, it looks like unfortunately Washington has something going on down there.
Yeah, they do. I do want to point out that Commanders did lose their star defensive tackle Jonathan Allen to I believe, possibly a season-ending pectoral. Some with his. Let me just pull it up here so I know exactly what I'm talking about. The pectoral injury Allen sustained during Sunday's game at Baltimore may require season-ending surgery. So they may be without
That's a
him.
bummer.
Yeah, it is. But Jane Daniels, he's gotten better at limiting those big hits. Because I know
Yes.
that was one of his big things at LSU and in Arizona State was that he would try and extend plays too much, and he'd try and stay up, and then he'd take that big shot, and that was one of the big things. But he's been good at keeping that down, sliding, and the ball placement has been really, really good. I mean, 75% completion percentage through 6 games.
Yeah.
That's crazy for a rookie. Some even like some veterans sometimes don't even make it to that mark. Sometimes they are touching 70%, but hit 75% your rookie year. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. I feel like I'm gonna call it right now. Jane Daniels for rookie of the year.
I don't think it's crazy. I really don't think it's crazy. Like I said, for the first 3 to 4 weeks of the year, he was running away with it absolutely. And then the past couple weeks, Caleb Williams has definitely shown that why he was a top pick. But Jaden Daniels has been fantastic. It's been everywhere too. It's been you know him standing in the pocket, delivering big balls down the middle of the field, down up the sideline. Him pause pause. um, Him getting out of the pocket, getting on the move, and still throwing the ball on the move. Him even running the ball, like you said, he's just been like a, he's been doing it anywhere. Like it seems like he can't really do much wrong right now, and that's. I'm gonna knock on wood when I say this. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but this is, I think, what's the word I want to use for this? This is almost like the universe's way of apologizing to the Commanders fans for how RG3 was handled.
Yeah,
Does that make sense? Where it's
yeah,
like I'm not saying they're the same player, but it's like, you had this insanely talented college quarterback, big play quarterback, scramble quarterback in RG3, who had a phenomenal rookie year. Then obviously some stuff happened with his injury, his mismanagement of injury, and we all know what happened with RG3. And I think this is the universe's way of saying, hey, I'm going to give you guys another really, really high ceiling, really athletic, good quarterback that don't screw it up this time. Hello, I don't know if we can hear each other now.
I know we're good. I just had to mute my mic because I had to
Okay,
cough.
okay.
You know, I can see where you're coming from there. The RG3 situation. I feel like RG3 is kind of like what Lamar Jackson is now is kind of the projection that RG3 was supposed to have. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? That's like that's the most similar player comp of like current day that I can think of. RG3 and Lamar Jackson. But no, back to Jaden Daniels. He's been playing amazing, like we said, and
Yeah,
I'm here for it. Seeing the Commanders, mix it up in that NFC East. Hell, with the way the Eagles and the Cowboys are playing, they might take the division,
yeah, yeah.
which is crazy to
So
say.
here's a little snippet. Um, this is a 2024 NFL MVP power rankings. This is again from ML Football, so I don't know if this is the exact one, but it's coming from some source. Um, Jaden Daniels is on this list. Can you guess where he is?
Fifth.
He's third
That was my original
right
guess.
now.
I'm gonna be honest.
Right now, well, I'll just go through the top 10 while we're talking about it. Again, this is from ML Football. I don't know if this is like from an exact like source, but it's got to be from something. The way that this place is usually pretty credible. Um, we'll start at number 10. Number 10 has Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, have him pretty low, but
Okay.
he's been kind of Number
Yeah.
9 is Giants defensive tackle Dexter Lawrence.
Ooh.
Number 8 is Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow. Number 7 is Vikings quarterback Sam Darnold.
Hey,
Shout
Sam
out that
Darnold
if you
for
would have heard that.
MVP.
If you would have told me that before the season started, I would have called you crazy. But here we are.
Hey, and this week and this Sunday game, he should be getting Hawkinson back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Number 6 is Steelers edge rusher T.J. Watt.
Wow.
Number number 5 is Ravens running back Derrick Henry. Number 4 is Texans quarterback C.J. Stroud. Number 3 is Commanders quarterback Jaden Daniels. Number 2 is Bills quarterback Josh Allen. And number 1 is Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
So it's a very, very early ranking from this source, but he's third on the list, which is insane to think about in any sense of like a rookie being that high up on the MVP ladder at any point in the season, honestly.
Absolutely. I heard a lot of some people say like this year, like Jane Daniels is last year's CJ Stroud.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Kind of like
okay.
how they come up. You didn't expect CJ to play like he did in the Texans and make it to the playoffs. This could be the same kind of arc that the Commanders
Yeah.
are on right now.
I have another stat here. Since you just talked about CJ Stroud, here's a next gen stat. Jade Daniel Jaden Daniels passer rating by situation. His passer rating versus man coverage is 120.2, which we all know the highest 180, what 158.3
I
is
think so.
technically a
Yeah.
perfect. So 120.2 versus the blitz is 128.6 versus or when he's under pressure, like just gets pressured on the throw,
Yeah.
it's 107.5. On non-play action passes, it's 105.4, and then downfield, which is 10 plus air yards, it's 124.4, which each of those is the highest by any rookie since 2016. And that's when they
Damn.
started keeping track of that. So minimum 30 attempts.
That's
He's
crazy.
been very, very, very good.
He's been good. He's been accurate, and this is something that the Commanders um, fan base has been waiting for. I'm gonna be honest. Wow.
Yeah,
I knew he was good. I didn't think he was that good. Damn.
it,
Shout
it's
out
kind of
Jaden
crazy.
Daniels.
These two players and two teams, like obviously talk about Caleb Williams next. Like both the Bears and the Commanders have been teams that have been struggling to find a quarterback for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And it seems like they both ended up finding their franchise guy in the same draft. So shout out. I mean, and they've both been good. Both the Bears and the Commanders are 4-2. This is the craziest start to a season. I would never expected the Bears to be 4-2. I expected them to be better this year, but 4-2 is a very good start. And then the Commanders, I did not have them going 4-2 at all. So shout out those guys. Anything else you want to talk about with Jaden Daniels before we move on?
Not really. Not really.
Yeah, I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I hate to see you guys win games, but as a fan of Jaden Daniels, I just gotta say, hey, it is what it is, man. Keep playing ball, and he's gonna be very, very good, man. It's gonna
Yeah,
be very, very good.
yeah, he's balling. Got me feeling nicey.
Anyway, we got to move on after that. Yeah, I think after that one we have to move on. Obviously, next is the first overall pick to the Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams, and again, I think I said earlier in the episode that we were going to do this episode like week 2, week 3 area, but we decided we kept having a couple other things we want to talk about, so we pushed it back a week, and again pushed back like 2 or 3 weeks. And I'm very, very glad it did, because what I would have came on here and said about Caleb Williams after his first 2 or 3 games, which shows you got to give people time, was going to be very, very different than what I'm going to say about him now and today when we talk about this episode. I'm sure same way for you.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I'm actually kind of glad. Again, like I said, I'm glad we pushed it back. We gave these guys some more games to kind of get in there, get more comfortable. We're really kind of seeing more who they are now versus for the first couple games. But stats wise, I have it up here. I pulled out the wrong one. I'm sorry. Caleb Williams this year, 1,300 passing yards, 9 touchdowns, does have 5 picks. You have his rushing stats pulled up.
I can just click something right here, and he has 25 carries, 169 yards, no touchdowns.
Okay. And I know those stats probably don't jump out at you too crazy. 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, 5 picks. 4 of those 9 touchdowns came this past week.
Yeah.
In London, he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal this past week, and honestly, his first game, 93 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. I think a lot of people came in here against Tennessee and were like this was rough. Tennessee actually won that game. It's the only win Tennessee has the entire season. It's like, man, Caleb Williams looked rough. He was really trying to extend plays he shouldn't have. He was getting sacked for big losses. Then he plays against Houston, no touchdowns, 2 picks. But then he gets Indianapolis, 363 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. It's like, okay, you see this guy is the big playability. He's getting the ball into the end zone. And then since then, he had 157 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then 226 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 1 pick. So the past 3 weeks, he's basically at what? 600, about 670 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 1 pick in the past 3 games. He's been really, really good these past 3 games. And again, the Bears are 4-2, and I'm glad we waited because those first 2 weeks he kept trying to run out of the pocket. He kept trying to run backwards, make big plays happen. He was getting sacked. He still does that quite a bit, but now he's getting more consistent of instead of just keep running backwards, he does kind of level out and he's made some big passes out of those situations now, kind of like what he did in college. We're seeing that kind of be adjusted and work a little bit more in the NFL for him. And there's actually a graph here, quarterback efficiency, right?
Right.
Caleb Williams has been the best quarterback in the league over the course of the past 3 weeks. So, hey, I'm not obviously he's not the best quarterback in the league, but at the past 3 weeks, game wise, he's by advanced stats. If you advanced stats nerds are listening, he has been rated the highest quarterback the past 3 weeks.
He's balling.
That's after all I just said, that was the perfect way to end it. He's balling.
He's
He is
balling.
absolutely balling.
No, but the craziest thing about all this is the Chicago Bears are 4-2. They're
Mm-hmm.
last in their division.
Yeah, the NFC North is really, really good right now.
They are. They are. It's crazy to think like the Bears are finally good, and now it's kind of like the entire NFC North is good too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, like the Lions are playing good. The Green Bay, Minnesota, all of them are playing good. But you know, if I would have told you the Bears were 4-2 right now, where do you think they'd be second in the division without knowing what you
I
know
think
now?
I thought the Vikings were going to be bad. So I thought they were going to be better than them. The Lions, I was definitely. I think if I remember correctly, I think I had the Bears third in the division in my rankings before the season, if I remember correctly. And I'm trying to remember who I think I had Detroit being better. So if you were to tell me they were 4-2, I would think they're either. I would think they would be tied for first in the division, honestly, with the Lions.
It's Minnesota 5-0, Detroit 4-1, Green Bay 4-2, and then Chicago 4-2.
It's crazy,
It is
especially
crazy.
with those couple weeks of Malik Willis playing quarterback for Green Bay.
Yeah, yeah, and coincidentally, every team in the NFC North has a better record than every team in the NFC West.
Oh yeah, they kind of suck over there. Well, they could. Yeah, that's another thing. Maybe we'll talk about that in another episode. The 49ers are
Not been
interesting
playing
this
good.
year.
Not been
Yeah,
playing good at
yeah.
all. But who is your pick for rookie of the year?
I mean, this is a tough one because I don't know. Again, it's only 6 games into the year. A lot could change. I think the idea is like, who do we think can be more consistent the rest of the year? Do you think Jaden Daniels can keep it up, or do you think Caleb Williams can keep it up?
My money would be.
And
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say because I had more reasoning behind it.
No, I was gonna say, my money would be on Jaden Daniels. He's been consistent so far. He hasn't really shown any sign of slowing down or backing down. And he's been very very accurate with throwing the ball. I just don't see that going away anytime soon. So my pick would be Jaden Daniels.
I get that, and I can't disagree. I think my only rationale is for saying Caleb Williams is the Bears are the better team. I think the Bears just have the better team around Caleb Williams than the Commanders have around Jaden Daniels. So I think Caleb Williams is going to be able to get away with some more stuff because of the team around him being better. He's got better receivers. He's got better running backs. I guess neither one of his running back rooms are fantastic. Offensive line, I would give the Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. Defense, they're both really good defenses. So I think that's pick your poison there. I'm going to give it to Caleb Williams because I also think the media is going to be behind Caleb Williams and give him Rookie of the Year as well. Um, but I don't know. I think there's a difference between who I think's going to win versus who I would pick to win. I think if I were to say who I pick to win, it'd be Jaden Daniels right now. But who do I think's going to win is going to be Caleb Williams.
They're totally respectable. Also, while we're here, who only 6 games in, but who's your MVP so far?
I think it's a toss up right now between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen for me. I think they're both playing so well. And, oh, man. This is kind of crazy to think Josh Allen's even in this conversation because of the way we talked about this team before the season started. Well, we kind of said that Josh Allen was going to need, basically, he was going to need to be Superman for this team to be good. He's doing exactly that.
Yeah,
So, I mean, part of me wants to give that edge to Josh Allen. And because Lamar's got, obviously, this isn't like a real reason, but Lamar's got 2 MVPs already. So, it'd be cool to see Josh Allen get his first one. Um, and especially like with it kind of depleted, he did just get Amari Cooper, but with a more depleted team than the Ravens have, I'll say Josh Allen right now.
I'll say my pick was Josh Allen because, like we said a couple episodes ago, he had to be Superman. He is Superman right now.
Yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Yes, he is.
Um, but I want to talk a little bit more about Caleb Williams because we spent a little bit on Jaden Daniels. He's had there was a play. I don't know if you saw it where it was this past week in London, and he threw a pass right into his lineman's face mask. He tried to sidearm him right through his lineman's face mask. It was just one of the funniest passes I've seen in a while. I'm trying to see. Well, I don't know why. Yeah. You know. No. What were you saying?
Oh, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh. Okay. Well, yeah. Sorry. I was finishing reading something. I didn't mean to for some dead air on a podcast like that. But no. Like Caleb Williams has been phenomenal. He's everything I could say about Jaden Daniels. I can pretty much say about Caleb Williams. A guy that has really kind of got himself to stick into the pocket a little bit longer and deliver some passes out of the pocket. He's not quite as quick to turn and run like he was the first couple of games of his career. But even now, when he does turn and run, he's able to find people on the run. He's able to, instead of running 15 yards backwards and taking a sack, only run 7 or 8 yards backwards, turn and try to make a throw or at least get it out of bounds instead of taking the big sack. And it just I think you've seen a lot of maturity very quickly in him. I think that was a question a lot of people had because he was such a big play quarterback in college where he was able to run backwards, to run around different people, and make a throw. And it's like stuff like that doesn't really work in the NFL like it does in college. And again, the first couple weeks of the season, we saw him trying to do that, and it didn't work. But I think he's such a special talent that he's going to be able to make circus plays like that happen. It's just about finding the balance of, do I want to make the circus play happen, or do I want to like stand in the pocket, maybe take a big hit, but be able to throw a more accurate ball in?
Yeah, 100%. And like you're saying, like what I was saying, I think earlier, and I've been preaching this. People were so hard to criticize him because he was the number one pick, because he was so hyped up.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at two recent number one picks, Victor Wembanyama didn't really turn it up until about 15 to 20 games into the season.
Yeah,
Caitlin
yeah,
Clark, the same thing. Sometimes you just got to give the player, about about a couple games into the season. You know what I mean? To let them fully get acclimated and get them fully ready for what they're doing. And I believe what we just seen is exactly that for Caleb Williams. He got in, had a rough couple of games, and now he's starting to turn it around. I love
mm-hmm.
making that connection to Victor Wembanyama. Kind of almost to similar to what happened. Victor came in, we were like, oh, what's going on with Victor? And then we was like, oh, Chet could win Rookie of the Year, and then something just flipped in Wemby's head,
Yep.
and he just went on that tear. I feel like we're going to see a similar type thing for Caleb Williams.
Yeah, Wemby had that 5x5 game, and the rest of his year took off, and then Caleb Williams just had his 4 touchdown game. So we'll see. We'll see if that's the turning point. And no, I do like that's a good comparison. And the funny thing is, a lot of the hate and negativity towards Caleb Williams before this year wasn't even like, a lot of it wasn't even for his on field play. It was him painting his nails, him crying on the sideline after losing a game. Like it was people looking for stuff to hate because he was supposed to be the top pick. So it's like I think we both talked about it on this podcast. Like when it came to on the field stuff, obviously there was things to pick apart about his game, but I'd say 90% of his hate is because of off the field issues, which genuinely I don't think matters to anything. Him painting his nails has not affected his game at all in these first 6 games of his career.
Absolutely not. And I'll be the first one to admit it. Like, I was skeptical of Caleb Williams because of his
Mm-hmm.
play in college. Because, like I've talked about before on the podcast when we were talking about the draft analysis, Caleb
Mm-hmm.
Williams didn't really play a lot of good defenses in college. And when he did, he struggled a little bit. Now, obviously, we're seeing he's
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
accustomed to the NFL, and we seen him throw 4 touchdowns against the Jags in London. I just that grace period to get acclimated, like I said before. But like with the hate thing, if he wants to paint his nails, paint his nails.
yeah,
And I bet a lot of people out there that are criticizing him haven't played sports competitively. I can understand
yeah.
after a hard loss like Caleb Williams had, going to the sideline or whatever and crying. Like, I can fully understand that. Hating on a guy for doing that? Come on now, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Bro, I remember we lost like back when I was in high school. We lost our homecoming game, and like I had a lot of family, my girlfriend at the time there. That's upsetting. Like we lost, we gave up a touchdown. Our defense gave up a touchdown with like a little bit over a minute left, and we lost the game. And it's like obviously doesn't compare it to like a D1 college game, but it's just you get caught up in such a good game like that and to lose it. I completely understand being upset. I'm not gonna say I cried on the sideline, but I had teammates cry. It's something that, again, this is high school level, not college or NFL level, but like if you're genuinely like have played have played just competitive sports like at any type of organized level, you'll understand that like you get deeply invested in like losing, especially like a heartbreaking loss. It'll genuinely affect you. Like these same people that are saying, "Oh, he's a bitch" or whatever for crying on the sidelines, are the same people that throw stuff and get mad when their favorite NFL team loses. It's
Yeah,
like, how are you more invested? Like, how are you invested that deeply into an NFL team that doesn't know you, but are criticizing a guy literally on the field playing with his team? Like
absolutely.
it's always the same people that are throwing stones are the ones that live in glass houses. So it is what it is. There's your knowledge for today from the podcast. If you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. Don't judge other people, man. It whatever they're doing, let them do what they're doing. As long as it doesn't affect you, like as long as it doesn't legitimately affect you, you might think it affects you because you have to see it on the internet, but let people do what they want to do, man.
Absolutely. I don't know. If you want to hate on someone because of how they're playing and they're playing
Mhm.
bad, that you
That's understand. That's fair
yeah, that's
in the
respectable.
aspects of sports. Yeah, yep.
But if you go after a guy because he paints his fingernails or he does this or he does that, so what?
Mhm. As
It,
long as it's legal, obviously. In some
obviously,
cases, of a
yes,
couple players.
yes.
Yeah,
Obviously, if it's legal and if he's not hurting anybody, like
yeah. Genuinely, the only thing that is hurting because of him painting his fingernails is like people's egos. Like
yeah,
for some reason, some people are, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but like as a friend group, we're able to like joke around with each other because it's like we all know we're friends and it is whatever. But like some people have such fragile egos that like if anything's said about them in a slightly negative way, they just simply can't handle it. And like I sometimes I wonder if like these guys, these men and women get on the internet, see Caleb Williams with a painted fingernails, and they feel threatened, and they feel like they have to like, they're like, oh well, I need to show everybody I'm not like that. And it's like I don't know, it's just kind of ridiculous.
yeah. It's just I don't know. I feel like in the age of the internet and everything, people just don't have anything better to do. They just sit at home and
That's also
they just
yeah, get a
make
goddamn job, get a hobby, do something.
go outside
That's
and
what you
touch
get.
some
That's the real.
grass at least.
Yeah, like we all do things outside of just sitting around playing video games and do a podcast. Like we all have things we do with our lives, and that's what it is. Like the more you just sit around and sit on the internet, you're gonna turn into one of those people. You know what I mean? You got to get out and do things. The internet's not real. Twitter's not a real place. YouTube's not a real place. You're only seeing part of us that we show you on the internet. You know what I mean?
YouTube's not real. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
I just found out we're not real people. We're simulation. No, but like
Oh my gosh.
that's what I don't understand. Like we're only seeing the Caleb Williams that he shows to us. Just like anybody watching this podcast or anybody that watches like my YouTube channel, you're only seeing us that like we show you to the camera. You don't know us at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like just to completely judge somebody's character off of something small like painting his fingernails. To me, and I'm sure to you too. It's just ridiculous.
It's blasphemy.
There's another good word for today. Blasphemy. We got he's bowling and blasphemy. That's Levi's takes for today.
But one quick thing before we go to wrap this up, I do want to give a shout out to the Cleveland Guardians, the New York Yankees, the New York Mets, and the LA Dodgers for making it to the NLCS and the ALCS.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The Mets and the Dodgers are tied at one apiece, and the Yankees are up on the Guardians 1-0. So shout out to those four teams, and may the best make it to the World Series.
Yeah, we don't really talk about baseball much on here, but I think we both, to a degree, watch a little bit of baseball. We're not as invested into it with basketball and football, but yeah, America's favorite pastime, I guess. I don't know if it still is at this point in time, but you know,
Yeah, I mean,
um,
shout out to those four teams.
that's right. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we get up out of here, or before we do our Week 7 Thursday night pick for you?
No, about everything that I've said I've needed to say.
All right. Well, again, before we get up out of here, every Sunday, I didn't do it this past Sunday because I unfortunately all weekend was pretty much very, very busy, and I apologize for that. But we do our shorts in the morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time on Sunday, where Levi gives his picks. But because it's on Sunday, Thursday night doesn't matter, so we do Thursday night at the end of the podcast. Blah blah blah. You guys know the story by now. Are you ready, Levi?
I'm ready.
Okay. So Thursday, October 17th, is Broncos and Saints.
I'm gonna have to give this one to the Broncos because the Saints haven't been playing good. Spencer Rattler did have a good game for the Saints as a starting quarterback since he got thrusted in because of the injuries that happened, but I think this is for the Broncos. I think Bo Nix comes out. He shows why he was picked where he was, and 200 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 picks is my prediction.
All right, you guys you heard it here first, so you can come back and see that. You can see the rest of his predictions Sunday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Time. If you're up that early, checking out some. Is there a game in London this week?
Um, I think the Jags actually play in
Oh,
London again.
yeah, the Patriots and Jags. So if you're on the West Coast, you're up at 6:30 watching the Jags. You can check out the short and see what Levi thinks about the rest of the games.
Yep.
So, well, I guess no, I guess because we'll do that. We'll do that in the short.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, We appreciate you guys watching this episode of Time Out with J and G. Go down, link in the description for our Dubby. We did the partnership. The link for our flavor will be down there. Also, the link to my channel, Cloud2K. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. 2K content, Sniper Elite series I'm doing with Levi. Also, Planet Coaster series I'm doing with Levi right now as well. Just go check that out. Anything you want to plug, Levi?
No, no.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.